Welcome to Couch Pilots, all my friends. The show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, but won't you call me the black actor? And across from me is my Sidney Poitier. Sidney Poitier. Captain Philip Restisher.
Good evening.
Sidney Poitier.
What was he? He was in, what movies was he in?
To Sir with Love.
Okay, don't know that one.
I think he was James Bond for a bit in the early 60s.
Oh, a black guy?
Black Bond? Well, it was the black exploitation version of Bond.
Blonde? For non-blondes?
For non-blondes only, right?
I've had some lucid sex dreams before in my past, and they haven't been non-blondes, but there's been 4 of them. There's been 1 or 2 blondes every time, so I can't really say that it accurately depicts my sexual dreams.
Every time I do an intro or bring up a subject on the show, it's almost like a game I play with myself. What can I?
Ooh.
It's a sexy game essentially. And what can I say that will not lead you down the story of a sex, the path of a sex story? And there's nothing. No. I haven't found one thing yet. And I'm always like, I want to lose. I want to hear your stories.
Right. Know? I mean, since I quit saying different stories, sex stories, our numbers have went down.
That's exactly right. People want to hear it. They want to know.
But then I feel bad, and I thought it was funny the other night. You sent me a picture of a nameplate.
Oh yes.
Where did you see that at?
I was at First Friday. It's an artist thing in Peoria, and they had all these nameplates for sale at Urban Artifacts, and Vecchio was one of the names. That is true.
Well, I read it and I started laughing. Of course, my nosy wife was like, "Wow, what's so funny over there?" I was like, "Nothing. It's a long story, baby."
How do I send you things without your wife being all up on your business?
Pigeon.
Is that an app or an actual bird?
An actual bird. She's scared of birds.
Okay.
So I just want to have in my backyard. And
that would, okay. I'm on board with it. It seems difficult, possibly messy and or pricey. Is she afraid of bird apps though?
I don't know, but if Mike Tyson can pull it off and figure out how to train him and stuff, I'm assuming that you could do that too.
I think so. Hopefully I'm smarter than Mike Tyson.
I hope so.
He's starting a pot farm.
Really?
Yeah. He's in California. I think that's where he lives, and California's
no doubt about it.
No doubt about it, right? Just like Dr. Dre and or Tupac once said, right? You like that song? California Love?
Yeah, I mean, you listen to it once and you're like, cool.
You got it?
Yeah.
I remember that was the #1 song of the year, in 94, 95. What were we
thinking? What were we thinking?
I don't know.
What were we thinking?
We love Mad Max.
Yeah, it was very Mad Max-ish.
It was absolutely Mad Max, 1,000%. And then there was a remix they would play after it sometimes. It was practically the same song, but it was like they came out of the dream of Mad Max. Have you ever had? I mean, you were talking about dreams at the top of the show here. Mm-hmm. What's a dream you had recently?
That I screwed up a podcast episode of Broken Funny Bone.
How'd that turn out?
It's perfect. It's perfect.
We're just
little nip, a little tuck, and a little help from a guy named over in Spain.
Oh, really? That's who you go to? The guy in Spain?
Yeah, there's a guy in Spain.
I think we should reform the network. Just call it
Broken.
Making Lemonade.
Ha!
That
was a good line. That was a good line.
When? Just now?
No, you said that to me earlier, a couple days ago.
Let's go. Oh, about
what my dream.
Okay. I have very few lines, and if you know me long enough, I start to recycle the shit out of them. And
I heard a new line today.
From who?
From you, via text message, and I didn't even know it was a joke.
Oh, about
And then
what?
you were like, "Oh, dummy, that was me joking around."
Oh, yeah, because you said...
meet and greet.
They said the meet and greet's the first thing we're going to do at the marathon. I said, can we move the meet and greet to the end? Which is obviously just me being silly, right?
Obviously not
too obvious to you? Now, my plan was we all get here, stone-faced, we do our shows, don't have no interaction outside of recording, and then at the end, we say, hey... Kevin, good to see you. Adam, I'm so glad you made your way down. Hyper Uppercut, I know Rob, and then there's 2 others.
We know Pickles.
Yeah, well, his name is Devin.
Yeah.
There's Devin and there is Jason.
Yeah,
right.
But I don't know that Jason.
I never met him either.
He's elusive.
Yeah, they say he's a fickle pickle, right?
Oh, then they should have named him Pickle instead.
Right.
They pickled the wrong person. They should have jarred that guy. Jar Jar Binks.
I'm just going to let you go for a few minutes.
I was just like, okay, this is not going. But anyway, enough about other people. Let's talk about me and you.
Or some breaking news on Down syndrome John.
Okay, go ahead. I don't really want to be the one to talk about it.
So for the people who don't know him, DSJ, Down syndrome John, he works on our tarmac. What are you doing? You hiding behind the mic? He works for us. He's out on the tarmac. He waves those golden cones, gets us up, gets us right back down. Very safe and sound every week. He's had a myriad of escapades over the years.
Right. You'd really need to go back and listen to our back catalog to fully comprehend his life, because I think from episode 1 or 2 maybe, like he's been an intricate he's been an intricate part of the show, and for us to
he's the fifth Beatle.
Right. It's impossible to like sum up DSJ's life at the beginning of every show. We just can't do it. So we're telling people, go on to iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is, Spotify, Stitcher, whatever podcast app you use, go download all of them and start from the beginning.
Get the backstory.
Right.
Holy smokes.
The backstory is worth it.
And it's funny you say that, because he's got a bunch of jobs, right? He's a roadie for Get the Lead Out.
Right, the Led Zeppelin cover band, which we're going in March still, right?
I'm so psyched for it. I can't wait. He had another job, he said recently. I can't remember what it was, but he has like a fourth job. He also whitewashes trays at McDonald's. Right. And then he's a DJ.
Oh, yeah.
He does some DJing on the side.
Yeah. That's a new thing.
That's a new thing.
Yeah, he's an aux DJ. You know what that is?
You just plug the cord in and press a button?
The aux to your phone. That's what they call them now, is aux DJs.
But is it all like do you pretend like you're doing stuff up there, but you actually just hit play?
I think you just hold your phone and you just move around. Hopefully
people like that, huh?
Yeah. Hopefully they have a better aux cord than I do that's got some scratchiness to it. Scratchiness to it.
Ricky. He's had so many different adventures over the years that I was talking to him a couple weeks ago about just journaling all these things. You know, writing them all down, getting these stories on a piece of paper.
Right.
And we shopped it around a little bit to some.
Could have done a podcast, but
no, he could have. But I mean,
it's technical stuff.
I don't think they make headphones his size. And what I said is, you write some of these things down. Write down kind of like an elevator pitch, as we've talked about before, and let's present it to some publishers. And I know some people in the game, obviously.
Cool.
So he went around. We kind of got the green light from a couple people.
Really?
So he's starting to write some stuff. They say we're interested. We say we don't get a lot of novels or autobiographies from people with Down syndrome, so this is great.
Sure.
So he's writing this thing, and apparently it's been taking some time away from his other jobs, and he was let go from McDonald's.
Ugh. Well, I mean, you're gonna make lemonade,
right?
Right. I mean, this is a new adventure in his life. I would think that you would make more money on a publishing deal than you would working a year at McDonald's.
In the end, it's probably
this is the end.
This is the end,
my friend.
I think in the long run, it's better that he doesn't work there and he puts his mind towards this creative endeavor, which is this autobiography. But first of all, he was the oldest, or not the oldest, but he was the longest working employee there.
Oh wow!
He had been there 17 years. It turns out, I didn't realize that.
Huh.
And then he's also.
I wonder how much vacation time he racked up in 17 years.
I think he had like 47 weeks of vacation at the end.
Yeah.
And, all paid.
Oh, wow.
47 weeks paid vacation a year. And then he was also one of the highest paid people in McDonald's.
More than the store manager, I think, probably.
In the tri-state area, definitely the store manager there. He had been there for 6 months, I think. And he lost his discount, though. He doesn't get a discount. You would think he'd almost get like a lifetime discount.
Yeah, they'd get like a gold or a platinum card or something, like a platinum golden arches card.
Or like a little pin, like a little golden arches pin, and you just like tap the pin at the cashier, and they just nod to you.
Okay. I mean, that's what we do when we go to the bar at the airports.
Just tap our wings.
Yeah, wherever we stop, we just go up to the bartender, tap our wings, and she goes, ah.
Yeah, that's good for a 10% discount. And then also some weird noises.
Well, a possible blowjob once or twice, maybe it would be nice.
Is that really happening?
Wouldn't it be nice if you could get a good old blue blowjob from a bartender? Just tapping those wings.
Was that the noise that she made?
Yeah, that's right when I pulled my pants down. Went,
oh, jeez. It's a groan of disappointment.
Oh, yeah. Story of my life.
Say, hey, lady, I tapped the wings, didn't I?
Now I'm going to tap your ass.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
you don't want to high-five that one.
Been a while.
Boom. Yeah, my hand is completely healed up, so it's time to get it raw again.
Right. It's cold though, like on the runway.
It's gonna crack.
We haven't had to use the de-icer yet. We haven't had to de-ice the plane yet.
DJ de-icer has not been out there. DSJ de-icer, I should say, has not been out there de-icing the plane as well as he should. So
luckily, last night the airport in our area, the main airport, was shut down because the runway was iced up, and I was like, "Whew, hope it's okay for tomorrow night when it really matters."
What do I always say? You can't stop Mother Nature, right? Don't I always say that?
Oh, every day, all day,
all day. Yeah,
I reversed that on accident.
That's why it confused me.
Confucius says, "Say it right."
So I'll be working pretty closely, I think, with DSJ over the next few months. He's going to be doing a lot of dictating, and I'm going to be doing some proofreading, some correcting. We're going through this together. I'm going to write the foreword for the book. He asked me to do that.
Do you have a red pen?
A red pen? Yeah.
Okay.
I only use red pens.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, were you saying like to make notes and stuff?
Well, yeah. That's what you do. Is you're like an editor in a way.
Mm.
So you're proofreading and editing. You just circle stuff in red and then like write the correct spelling for.
Even if everything else is already in red, I should still use that. You think?
Well, you should never let him use a red pen. It's going to confuse you guys.
That's all I use at home. I gave him like a whole stack of red pens.
Oh shit! You might have to try to use a black one then.
Well. You know my nickname, the Black Actor.
I thought you were going to say the Black Pen.
The Black Marker. The Black Sharpie. That's what they should call me.
Works for me.
And you know what? He works for me and you. He's asked for you to write some. You know how they have notes on the back, like, hey, this is a great book by a great man.
Sure.
Sure. A definite read, a must own, right?
Sure.
The stories this man has, just it's something inspiring and great on the back to make people want to pick it up and buy it.
Right. Just like some little tidbits that you would put like in an EPK.
I'm not sure what that is.
Electronic press kit.
And now that's something you would send to critics?
We would send out.
Do we have one of those?
No.
Should we get one together? Do we have a best of reel?
No, I wish we did, but we're too far into it now to go back and redo it.
How long do you think our best of reel would be? Like 35 seconds?
Oh no, it'd be at least 4 hours.
Oh, you think we have 4 hours?
We've done like 105 episodes.
But I mean, what's been good about it though?
There's at least 5 minutes from each episode, right? I would think. I would hope.
Maybe so.
Maybe so.
Maybe so. I don't know. Anyway, that's what's going on in our lives. Just a little ketchup, a little mustard.
Oh, beat me to it. You're on your ball tonight.
A little. Hey, I'd like to be on my fan feedback tonight.
Oh, fan feedback is something. Oh, sorry. A little different fan feedback than usual. I go through my phone and because I read the screenshots.
Electronic press kits.
Right, but
what's wrong with your electronics?
This is not electronic. This is a box.
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember a time before boxes.
Straight from Australia.
What?
And the date that it says that it was mailed out was September 12th, and I just got it today.
September 12th? No way. For real?
It says 9/12/2017.
Let me see that.
9/12/2017 at...
No, I think that's December 9th, because everyone else does their dates different. They do it how you say it, where we don't do it.
That's true. You're right. Wow.
Or they do it from the day to the month to the year.
Okay.
Where we do month, we kind of go backwards as far as the amount of time.
All right. Well, it is from our pal Dee Dee in Australia. She sent us a box. She paid $15 to ship this to us.
Now the dollar, as far as I understand, is very weak. So in Australia, that was probably like $250.
And for some reason, it went to Vancouver, British Columbia before it came here.
Have you ever spent any time there?
Is it nice?
I don't know. Oh. I would love to spend some time there with you, though.
So we have not opened this. We're opening it as we speak.
I'll be really disappointed if it's a bomb.
You know what? To be honest with you,
no, you'd welcome it.
I probably would.
This would be great, right?
Maybe it's anthrax.
If Dee Dee turned out to be a crazy person who killed us, I would love it.
No skin off my back.
What a way to go, huh? I don't think that's it at all. I'm excited to see what this has. You are cutting towards yourself, which is dangerous. You have a knife out and you're cutting towards yourself. Oh, merciful. All right, some tape there. Ooh, that looks like Australian tape.
Oh, I see why.
Looks like it was put on backwards.
I see why I couldn't figure it out.
Please be careful cutting towards yourself. Your insurance is
You
up
like
to
this?
date,
You
right?
like this knife? It's an apocalypse survivor knife.
I see it's got a rope cutter on the back. You definitely look. The knife looks like a badass, and it makes you look like a
Thank
badass.
you.
But I don't want you to get hurt. Oh my God! What do I see right on top?
Toss those over to you, my friend.
A bag here full of bottle caps. This is amazing.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
You don't have any of those, probably.
I'm sure I don't. Let's take a look.
Oh, this is hilarious. I'll let you describe yours, and I'll describe mine. Then there's a note or a card in here, something.
Oh, these are great. Yeah, these are cool. These are some really cool bottle caps from Down Under. We got some horses, Han Premium Light. We've got Cascade Beer, Australia's finest since 1919. Woo!
So those are ones you can't get a hold of.
I don't think so. I did a huge trade with an Australian person. I don't think these were among them at all. So this
that's
is
awesome.
fantastic.
And I got a book, World Sporting Scandals, Notorious Clashes, Crimes, and Controversies in Sports History. And it has all of my favorite people on it, like Tiger Woods, who's
Sure.
never done anything wrong. Our good one bald man. What's his name? Lance Armstrong.
Lance Ballstrong, yeah. Or Armstrong,
Yeah.
sorry.
And it's got some French runner. And then it has something from a long time ago. But this is cool. This is a book that I am definitely going to read. It's just about all kinds of like scandals in the sporting world.
Man, gifts.
O.J. Simpson's on it.
Now, what did he do that was scandalous?
I don't know.
He won the Heisman Trophy, I think, a record-breaking 8 times, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think what's nice about this is they're not really long stories. It's like the background, the scandal, and then the aftermath.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Let's cut out the fat, right?
Can't wait.
I don't need to know what the prosecutor was wearing. Let's just get down to it.
In 2001, the Little League overage scandal. You remember that one? The kid was in the Little League World Series.
Couple
as a
of
pitcher.
30-year-olds?
Yeah, and he was like 20-some years old. And then we have a card.
Oh, a card as well. Wow.
My name's First. I hope you don't mind.
I don't mind at all. It sounds better anyway like that.
It's
It's a koala bear
yeah.
with a couple of birds on the back.
And on the back of it, it says Australian made and owned, printed in Australia, koala, of course, images for the world. And I'll open it up. To my captains, Merry Christmas from Down Under, Dee Dee.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Dee Dee. This is great. I love
This
these
is awesome.
bottle caps.
I'm going to read this book, too.
They're going on my fridge. I'm going to take a red hot photo of them once they're on. And
Yeah, definitely. I will send it over to her.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
That's
much.
Really good.
We really appreciate that. That's awesome.
Oh, boy.
We've never gotten
Physical mail.
physical mail before.
We got the DVD, but I think that was it. From
That
Greg
wasn't from
Garcia.
a fan. That
Right.
was-
It wasn't from a fan. It wasn't like it was just saying, "Hey, look at my stuff." But here she's
Sure.
saying, "This is for you.
this is for your stuff.
Specific. This is for your stuff."
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Dee Dee. We really appreciate that. And that's awesome.
Frequent flyer points.
Oh, I can't even register right now.
I don't know what that looks like at this point.
Right.
Right.
We're gonna have to do some overtime just to calculate that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
In the world of failed television pilots,
We're the kings.
you and I are kings.
We're the best. We're the captains.
Right? You ever hear that
I should have
saying?
yelled that instead. I should have yelled, "We're the cat." Try it again. Go ahead and try again.
In a world of failed television pilots,
We're the captains.
we're the captains. That's right. They say the old saying is what in the man of in a world of one-eyed men, the guy with 2 nostrils is king.
I think so.
Something like that. I heard it in a movie once. Anyway, today we discussed the pilot episode of High School High, or High School USA rather, from the year of our Lord 1984.
Ooh, 1984. That's the Winter Olympics,
It was a great year.
the bicentennial.
It was all those things and more. And that's funny you say that. That's funny you start mentioning things from that year. It's like you already know what we're going to do next, right?
Sure.
It's
It's
taken.
called leading it in.
It's called it's called making note of the segue. We are.
Maybe
going,
it was East Peoria's bicentennial. I'm thinking.
I have no idea. East Peoria's.
Yeah.
It wasn't around since the 1700s, right? Bicentennial means 200.
Or maybe it was just centennial.
It's probably sometime in the 1800s, right?
I don't think so.
Or early 1800s. I don't know. Anyway, what we do now is we say 1984. That's when this pilot was.
Van Halen.
We have to touch. This pilot has a lot to do with Van Halen, and we're really going to get into the history and the member, each and every member. Mostly, we're going to talk about the guy from Extreme, who turned out to be the lead singer for a few years, right?
Just to be the next to be with you.
I'm the one.
That's Mr. Big, but that's fine.
Same. It's the same band. It turns
Right.
out they changed names. No, what we do is we talk about things that happened back in 1984, so we can understand the people who made this pilot, where their heads were back then.
Right.
You and I, physically, would I love to go back to 1984 and put some money on the Cubbies? You bet. Is that the... No?
No.
Put some money on the 85 Bears back in 1984, right?
Right. That was exactly where you should put it.
Yeah. I think that was it.
But we have to go back and figure out what was going on in 1984.
Right. It's not fair to judge this pilot based on what we know. Like, there's no one walking around with iPhones or computers. There's no one with VR headsets.
Guys had feathered hair.
Oh my God! Right? Isn't that? And we have to acclimate ourselves to that. We can't do it physically, so we do it in our minds, and we do so by mentioning things from that time. Because I don't know any other way to do it. This is the only way I know.
It's the only way I know how to do it.
That's how my dad taught me and how my grandfather taught my father before him. So what we say is, in 1984, the serial killer, Christopher Bernard Wilder, the beauty queen killer,
I've never heard of this guy.
who went on a 6-week cross-country crime spree starting in Florida on February 26, 1984, abducted and murdered his first victim, Rosario Gonzalez. He continued across the country through Georgia, Texas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nevada, Utah, California, and New York before he was killed during a struggle with the police in New Hampshire on April 13th, 1984.
That's cool. I'm going to investigate that because I've been listening to a couple true crime podcasts.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention it because I don't want the listeners to go listen to that instead of this.
I think if you mention any other show, which I usually don't mention any podcast or anything, because I know people will flip this off immediately.
Exactly.
Some people think this is the only podcast out there. And
I like hearing about serial killers.
I know you do.
Usually
ladies like it. Have you noticed that? Like ladies really love hearing about.
Ladies love true crime.
LLCT, LOTC. Ladies love true crime. Why do you love true crime?
I just think it's interesting. Like first of all, I think how these people go about doing stuff, and then like how they get away with it or not get away with it, and like just maybe take notes on what works and what doesn't work.
What I mean, I can understand like wanting to be entertained by it, but why would you take notes on how to do that?
Research purposes.
Yeah. Are you writing a paper or something or?
No. But anyway, yeah. So that sounds cool.
Huh. Anyway, there were 8 confirmed murders and rapes. What's that?
What? No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What did you say?
Huh?
Before that, what did you say?
I'm gonna kill that motherfucker.
That's what I thought you said. He's known as the beauty queen killer because all the women were attractive.
That's kind of. How do we know? Like, if you want to look at these girls before, like, hopefully they have before pictures, and that's how they judge.
You think he took a photo of them before he killed them?
I'm saying I hope the cops had pictures of the girls before they were killed, so they could determine. Because if you,
I was making a joke. Smile real quick, thank you, and now I stab you. And here's another photo. This is this one of the first confirmed serial killers, and was studied to provide insight into the minds of serial killers. Can you imagine if he killed like an ugly chick and lost that nickname?
Oh man, I think it's the media that usually is the ones that come up with the name.
But he has to be aware, right? Like he's probably hearing on the news or seeing newspapers. There's a guy out there killing people, and there's these girls, and he's like, "Oh, I killed a girl over there. That's me they're talking about. Oh, they call me the beauty queen killer." That's kind of a badge of honor to get a nickname from the media.
Right, and he was probably just about ready to like stab some ugly girl, and then he's like, "Well, I got."
And that was one of the thoughts I had too. It's like once you earn that nickname, you have to be really careful who you rape and murder after that, right?
Right, you got to be selective. Kind of like a unicorn. Do you know what a unicorn is?
It's a horse with a horn.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. Do you know what a unicorn is in the swingers world lifestyle? What a unicorn?
It's not
would
the
be?
same like horse with a horn.
No.
What is it?
You don't want to take one guess?
I'll take one guess. It's not the horse with the horn. It's like someone with both sets of genitalia.
No.
But that would be.
That was close. No, it would be a single woman that's in the swingers lifestyle. They call them a unicorn because they're so rare.
It's usually men by themselves or couples.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the? I mean, obviously, I don't. You know stuff about swingers, which I didn't know you understood or knew that.
I listened to a swingers podcast.
And then you're also like studying up on like true crime stuff.
Serial killers and true crime, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean just the blank stare that you're giving me right now, the kind of dead eyes and almost some sort of bravado in talking about this is very off-putting.
I can consider myself more of a tenor than a bravado.
Fair enough. 1984 rolls around. The original Apple Macintosh personal computer went on sale during January of 1984. The PC was the first mass-produced Apple computer that was mouse-driven and had a built-in graphical interface for users. The Macintosh was originally priced at about $2,500, which was more expensive than several other competitors' models, but still sold well despite the higher price.
And I think whenever you did an update, it would cause the battery to work less well.
I think so. Now, $2,500 in 1984.
Jeez,
That's like $1 million today.
Right. Well, remember, like when they first came out with VCRs, they were really, really expensive, and now you can go get you can go get a DVD player now for like $30.
You can find them behind dumpsters usually just for free, just sitting there, new in the box.
But back then you couldn't.
No, not back then.
And they're
no
the
way.
ones that had the buttons you had to push, and then they were top loaded. Like the VCR my stepdad had was a top loaded one. It weighed about 400 pounds.
Yep.
And it had those big buttons, like the
Like for people who had bad vision.
yes.
Yeah, I like the ones that come up like that.
Oh, it wasn't just it was boom. It would pop up super.
You ever put like one of your action figures on there and pop it up and like flip them?
Oh, that was a good idea.
We should do that. We should go behind a dumpster and find one and do that.
All right, I'll write it down.
All right, write down dumpster.
Dumpster dive.
Yeah.
Kill that bitch.
Hold on a second. Dumpster. How many D's did you put in that?
2.
Okay. Let's see. So, AIDS virus identified by French immunologist.
Oh shit. I'm going down, baby. Oak Street in the Range Rover. Boom, boom,
This song
boom.
shows
Ready
go
to
from the back
let
of
it
the
go.
songs.
Shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Pop. Shimmy, shimmy, ride.
You're 6 years older than me. That song I think came out when I was like 20. So you were into it, man. You're out there. You knew what modern music at 26.
Oh yeah, I
You're
was all over that. Beethoven, Mozart. Loved all those bands.
That's classical music, right?
Yeah, just like the song I was singing.
Nelly's Cocoa Puff song.
Uh-huh.
That's classic.
Oh, it's a classic, bro.
I'm really out
Put
of
that
it.
Band-Aid under your eye and let's get this thing going.
Did he have AIDS? You think, and that's what he just could never heal properly?
There's a wrestler called Jinder Mahal, and like he does a lot of steroids, and like for the past year and a half, he's had this sore on top of his nose.
Does he put a Band-Aid over it?
No, he should.
He probably has AIDS. Do you think Nelly gave Jinder Mahone AIDS?
Could be. It might be.
Jinder Mahone?
Mahal. Jinder Mahal. The modern day Maharaja.
Gender, though.
Gender.
Like male or female.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Do you think if the French never identified AIDS, then it wouldn't exist?
No, it would have wiped out half of our
So you think
population.
it's good that they recognized AIDS?
Well, of course it's
or
good.
identified it?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if it's kind of like a lot of my problems, physical and otherwise in my life, I just say, if I ignore it, hopefully it's going to go away.
That's what I do about last step 2. Oh, hey. Ooh, something off this mic.
It works about 5% of the time for me. So,
Sorry.
Jesus. You think light beer makes you more burpy than not light beer?
No, it's the way you drink it. If you gulp it, it will come up.
Do you do big gulps of air?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love a big gulp bear. I think if they wouldn't have, found out what AIDS was and talked about it, it would have wiped out half of our country, I would say, if not more. It would have been worse than the plague.
Now, the plague was because of rats and bacteria.
Yeah, because we didn't have sewer systems.
Oh, so the rats just ran the streets.
The rats ran in the streets, which had poop and pee in the water, and then they would go up and walk in the house and then jump on the dining room tables while the people were eating, and then they would step on their food. They would eat it, and then they got the plague.
So there was human shit running through the streets back then?
Yes.
So basically, the sewers they're only just hidey holes for rats.
There weren't even sewers. They hadn't even figured that out
But
yet.
like today, the only reason we have sewers is just places for rats to hang
keep
out.
the rats down there.
Why? Fuck that, man. You know, as many people as the plague killed, I think human beings should go into the sewers and give rats the plague. Don't you think?
Could be.
No, I think we should.
Okay.
I was 3 when this show aired.
That was 9.
3 and 9.
So I knew pretty much everything there was to know about the world.
This is the only time in our lives, the only year in our lives at which you were 3 times older than I was.
You are good with numbers, man.
What can I say? I love them multiply. Hey,
Don't get high on your own supply.
why did we choose to watch High School USA?
3 simple criteria. First, it had to be a failed pilot that never went to series. Whether it aired or not is irrelevant. That factors in none to us. Second of all, we had to find it on the interwebs. We had to find a place where we could watch this. And then third, it had to be free, baby, because we don't have any monies. We're out of monies.
Free baby.
Free, baby.
Where did that come from? Because I hear it all the time now. People saying baby.
Well, I always heard it. I first heard it from Lauren Lapkus, and then Scott Aukerman started saying it, and that's how I.
But I hear it on other things now too.
Yeah, I think it's spreading the nation.
I think it's like spread like the plague.
What?
You can find the entire episode of High School USA or USA by subscribing to Couch Pilots and Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app of choice.
And Spotify.
Oh, and Spotify. Should I throw that in there? Should we make a list of all of them?
All the places you can find our show?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Let's make a list of it, and I'll just say them every show now.
Okay.
And then,
Kill this.
but what I would suggest is just downloading us in one of those, subscribing, and then click on one of our classically blue links in the show notes, or go to Daily Motion and check out all the commotion.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
I'm not crazy. Daily Motion and commotion, they do rhyme. Right?
Very well.
I had a rhyming dictionary, but I lost it.
You can't find it anymore? That sounds a lot better. It sounds a lot better.
Your sound, yeah,
The sound of that is
the sound of that
like
actually
I
happening.
felt that this time.
Yeah. I got vibrations.
Vibrations.
The show is built on the back of his songs. Summary of the pilot.
That's how a deaf person hears that song.
Is that really?
Mm-hmm.
Just through vibrations.
Right.
Were the Beach Boys deaf?
No, but they often a lot of people don't know that Pet Sematary, their famous album Pet Sematary,
Right.
it was made for deaf people.
Was it really?
Yeah, that's why it's so intricate.
Is there one deaf person in particular? Like, we want you to hear or feel this.
They could have been dating one of them or something, but I think it was just for the deaf community in general. They did it for.
Okay.
Pet Sematary is for. And I think if you look on the album, the original first release of that album, on there on the back, like the bottom, it says for the deaf.
Now, this is one of the most critically acclaimed albums and one of the best-selling albums of all time. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, definitely.
I think the key might be I think handicapped people are a target audience. Like,
Definitely.
We should start making music for handicapped
We should
people.
start making a podcast for deaf people.
Yeah. That might be where we're going wrong. And we could just make
That
vibrations.
Might be our ballywick.
Now, what does that mean?
That's on the boat, on the bottom of the boat, back in the corner. That's where they keep all the bottles.
Near the transom?
Oh yeah, right next to the transom. Like, where's all the bottles? It's in the ballywick.
Yeah. Okay. I guess
Captain.
now that you put it in that context, I think I have heard that before.
Thank you.
Summary of the pilot. The show focuses on the intrigue inside Excelsior Union High School.
Home of the Beavers.
Intrigue. Beavers. That's a...
What was the name of the school?
Excelsior.
What's that word mean?
Like,
I thought that was more like a. I would think of castles and wizards.
yeah, as I say, it's like what a nerd yells at a Renaissance fair. Like, someone will yell huzzah.
Somebody that's LARPing.
Yeah, someone who's LARPing out at a Renaissance fair will say huzzah, and the next guy will say Excelsior.
Really?
Sure.
Why'd they call themselves the Beavers?
Yeah. It's. Do you think it's a sexual innuendo?
In this, yeah, it is in this.
Yeah. Oh, we got
'Cause
so
there's-
much. We got so much to talk about, don't we? Interesting
Strap
facts.
in, folks. We're gonna be here a while.
Strap into interesting facts.
Ooh.
The 2017 just ended.
Right.
And like they take that calendar year and they'll accumulate a lot of information and they'll put out lists. And I was looking at a list online, and our section here on Couch Pilots of Interesting Facts made a top 10 list of interesting facts lists from podcasts all over the internet.
Awesome.
Top 10.
High five it.
So, I mean, I don't think I need to tell you what Interesting Facts is about. I can hit it real quick, I guess, right?
Yeah, just real quick. I mean, give them the layman's term.
High School USA, it's available to watch. Anyone can do it for free. We're stupid. We did it. We watched it for free. But there are other things in play, other stuff that you might not know by just watching that classically blue link that we're providing you. And I'm going to tell you what those things are, and you're going to hear them, and you're not going to say anything about them because they're facts.
Yeah, don't say anything to us about them. Don't say anything to your partner about them.
Your grandma.
Or your dog.
Your meemaw.
There's no point in saying whether you think they're interesting or not. Just absorb it, take it in. Don't break the rule.
They are what they are, right? Just like Popeye.
They is what they is.
Ike. That's my best Popeye.
Ike.
Someone said we should do more impressions. That was my...
That's my impressions. All my impressions. So that was it was your impression of Popeye.
Popeye, the Sailorman.
Okay.
This is what he would do. He would open a can of spinach, right?
Right.
With like his hands.
Aluminum can.
Sometimes he'd squeeze it, and then all the spinach would fly up into the air.
And then he would catch it on the way down.
And he would catch it he would eat through his pipe, which I think would be wildly...
Impossible?
Impossible. Like, just unhygienic.
Unsanitary?
Yeah. Like, because, I mean, there's a lot of probably tobacco residue in there, right? And then you ingest that through the canned spinach.
That's why animation is a world with no rules.
I love that. I love that about animation, right? Not as much as I love interesting facts, though.
All right, we'll hit it. Now, I'll try to make sure that 2018 is a better year for me than last year.
Okay, I didn't want to bring that up, but you were also on a list on the internet, and I'll just leave it I'll leave it at that.
Couple mini lists.
High School USA is a 1983 American made-for-television comedy film starring Michael J. Fox, Nancy McKeon, Anthony Edwards, and Crispin Glover, directed by Rodney Amatou. The film originally aired on NBC October 16, 1983. Several of the main characters appeared in sitcoms that were popular at that time. These included Todd Bridges, Dana Plato from Different Strokes, Nancy McKeon from The Facts of Life, and Michael J. Fox from Family Ties, as well as a number of former 1950s and 19 sitcom stars. This is not that show. This is the made-for-TV movie that our pilot was based off of. Were you getting worried?
No, it was just such a long, interesting fact, and then it just nonchalantly you're like, and this isn't what we watched.
Well, that's setup, right?
Right.
Because
I didn't know that. I didn't know it. So
they made a successful.
To me, that was a fact that I needed to know.
Okay. Hey, very well said.
Thank
I
you.
respect you more and more every day. There was a made-for-TV movie, and they said, let's do something with this. We got a head of steam. Let's make hay while the sun's shining, baby.
Baby.
Shit, now I'm saying it. Final acting project of Dick York, which you may remember from Bewitched.
Oh, okay.
He was the superintendent.
He was a superintendent, yeah. I remember he was on Bewitched. I just didn't remember what his name was.
Dick York. Pretty good name, right?
Right. Dick Taint would have only been a better name, but...
They almost renamed New Amsterdam Dick York, but instead...
Is that where he's from?
New York. Right. NBC created a one-hour pilot due to the success of the original movie, but no longer featured the star teen actors. It was aired on May 26, 1984, the Saturday evening of Memorial Day weekend.
Nobody is home.
You know what that is? That's Cookout Central time.
Hell yeah, it's
baby. Oh, shit.
Last day of the pool, or wait, first
day of the pool. That's it, where you get out there with the big scissors and you cut the ribbon over the pool, right?
Oh, we're going to do that this year because we're going to have a new liner.
I love new liners.
Do you want to be there for the ceremony?
It's nothing like the smell of a fresh liner. I want to be there.
Okay.
Can I hold one side of the ribbon?
That's what I was going to ask you to do because I know you don't like to get in the water.
Don't make me hold both sides of the ribbon. I don't think I can stretch that far.
I think we'll have Big E hold the other side of it.
According to stand-up comedian and future Mystery Science Theater 3000 star Joel Hodgson, he was asked to be one of the stars from the proposed series. Hodgson turned down the offer after telling the network he didn't think the material was good. Later, the network raised their offer, thinking it was a bargaining ploy. Because of this, Hodgson left Hollywood. He felt Hollywood was shallow and quit the industry until 1987 when he created Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay. I like the Mystery Science Theater 3000 show.
Yeah, I think that started out of like Milwaukee or some small,
Public
Midwestern
access.
town. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've heard interviews with him before.
It sounds like he left Hollywood and went back to his hometown and
He's
said,
like, these people are offering me a job. Fuck them.
yeah, I wonder why. I don't know. I mean, at that time, if you're an actor, because I read something else where they said they not only did they offer him more money, they doubled the amount of money. So to turn that down as what I assume was a struggling actor, because I didn't know him from Adam before Mystery Science 3 or 3000, and to go back to your hometown, that's kind of gutsy just to turn down money in a job.
I think he had other issues besides just this contract.
Sounds like you've heard more than I have through
Well.
your interviews about this guy. Both Crystal Bernard from Wings, God, she was cute in this.
She was cute.
And Crispin Glover, they both appeared in the made-for-TV movie and the pilot.
Oh.
Crystal reprised her role as Annie Marie Conklin, while Crispin played Archie Field in the pilot, and he played Bo Middleton in the film.
Oh, so in the film he played the rich kid.
Yes,
Really?
the role that was originally played by Anthony Edwards. Yeah,
Wow.
what a versatile young
There's
man,
so many name drops in this already.
right?
We haven't even gotten started.
Oh, we're just getting warmed up.
Harry Belafonte,
Duncan Hines,
Barack Obama,
right? Mr. Rogers.
Betty Boop.
Oh, I missed that one.
Boop boop be doop. That's my impression.
Twitter responses.
Twitter responses. Jason Rowley ever get some Twitter responses.
And I didn't this time either. No, actually I did.
Stop.
Hold on. Hold the phone.
What? Somebody actually got back to us. We were on a hot streak for a while. We had a lot of Garcia, right?
Greg Garcia.
Greg Garcia talked to us a lot. He sent us a copy of a show.
Micah Wright.
Micah Wright got a hold of us. Sam Sneed?
Sam Cedar.
Sam Cedar twice, I think, right? Or at least once.
I think twice. Yeah,
Yeah.
twice.
And then the guy that was in Pachinski.
Yeah, Brian Haley.
Yeah. We were on a fucking roll. And then
We had a lot of people get a hold of us. We've been actually super lucky and very grateful. And so as today, when I mentioned two of the stars, people you've probably heard of, Crystal Bernard, because she made her nut and wings, right?
Helen Chapel.
Right. At number 6, if you will, in our rating system. And would you have known what number it was?
Yeah, I wrote it down today so I would remember.
And then also Crispin Glover. Those are people who really kind of blew up and really had some time in the spotlight at one time or another. But someone else who was both in the movie, the made-for-TV movie, and the pilot was actor Michael Zorich.
Oh, okay.
And you can find him at Michael Zorich on Twitter. I know that's where I found him.
We'll tag him in our Twitter.
I used to have to send out 2 tweets to everybody, but then they upped the amount of characters in a tweet, so I can just do it in one, which makes it a lot better.
And that's probably why they're coming and getting a hold of you. Like, this guy's not obnoxious.
Yeah, he's not sending me 2. So what we do is we say, hey, creators, producers, writers, directors, and actors from these shows, someone who had a part, something to play, something to do, a job within this show, who had firsthand experience with this project. We say, hey, greetings from Couch Pilots Podcast. We talk about TV shows that had only 1 episode. Next up for us is High School USA. We're excited to watch it, and we're wondering if you had any fun or inside info you'd want to contribute. Thanks. Take care. Michael Zorich played Chucky. You know Chucky?
Yeah, he was Archie's buddy.
Yeah.
In this, he kind of looked like a young Lou Ferrigno, maybe.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah.
They probably both have similar, like almost Greek ethnicities.
To me,
perhaps?
it was a cross between a young Lou Ferrigno and then the guy from Animal House with
John Belushi.
No,
I'm sorry.
I forget the guy's name. Yeah, John Belushi. Sure, it's not the right one.
Okay.
It's the other one. But yeah. So yeah, no, I've seen this guy. It also reminds me of the guy that is on the Goldbergs, the dad on the Goldbergs,
Jeff Garlin.
like a young Jeff Garland.
Okay. It's funny too because
Not Judy.
Not Judy Garland.
Yeah.
That'd be great. This guy reminded me of Judy Garland, oddly enough. But this is a classic '80s program where you have all these different character stereotypes, and Michael Zorich in this was the chunky dude,
Right.
Which is funny because I will give it to him that at this time he was a chunky dude, but like by today's standards, he's not a chunky dude at all.
Not at all.
There are huge fat guys walking around everywhere. Anyway, Michael Zorich was so nice to get back with us. The first thing he sends me is a picture with him and Michael J. Fox, who he worked with on the original made-for-TV movie, who he says is a buddy of his. We'll get into that in a second.
Ooh.
He says, I have a number of things to say. about the pilot and the TV movie. When do you need this by? And I said, hey, by Monday is good. And he said, okay. So he said, I had a busy weekend. I'll write to you something tomorrow. And God damn it, he did.
Nice.
He says, one can't talk about the pilot of High School USA without talking about the TV movie of High School USA. Now, I can only speak from my experience and my memory, and that is what I will share with you. I auditioned for the role of Chucky early in the process, and while I thought I did well, I heard nothing. Up to that point, I had filmed the movie Private School and a pilot for NBC called Young Hearts. When I followed up with my agents, I was effectively told that they were going another way, so I went about my life. I was not making a lot of money, so I had taken an evening job at a local gas station, Mini Mart, working 11 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Ugh.
It was a Thursday afternoon when I heard I had a callback on Friday for High School USA. I was thrilled. After my shift, I ran home to sleep for a few hours and then headed over to the 20th Century Fox lot. In the waiting room, it was me and one other guy. I read for the producers and the writers, then came out and they
Punch that mother.
they asked me to stay. Then the other guy went in. He came out and they asked me to come back in. I had my sides, or the lines I was reading, and was ready to begin when someone said, "Don't worry, you have the part." I was in shock. Someone went out and let the other guy go, and I called my agents. A wonderful woman there gave me a Xerox of a sign she had over her desk. I still have it, which read, "Logic gets you what you need. Magic gets you what you want."
That's cool.
That's cool.
I like that.
After a while, I was told I had to drive out to where they were having a cast reading. I believe it was near Downey. I can only assume it's in California, outside L.A., and meet the rest of the cast. I was late as I was just cast, so I walked into a room with basically every kid I knew from TV. Michael J. Fox, obviously we know who he is. Michael McKeon, which was the cool girl from Facts of Life.
Okay.
Joe, I think it was her
Yeah.
name. Everyone had a crush on Joe.
Sure.
I know I did. Todd Bridges, you know him, right, from Different Strokes. Crystal Bernard. I don't know what she did before Wings, but she was apparently a child actor. Kathy Silvers, Lori Hendler, John Grease, Tom Villard, John Kalari, and Anthony Edwards, who we know from ER, and he was Goose in Top Gun. Dana Plato, Crispin Glover, and Davis Packer. Along with them, during the filming, I met and worked with Angela Cartwright, Bob Denver, Dwayne Hickman, Barry Livingston, Tony Dow, Dawn Wells, Eleanor Donahue, and Frank Bank. It was a crazy few weeks, and during the filming, the writers Alan Einstock and Larry Mintz told me that I had come in on the first day of auditions, and they were a bit gun shy as to stating their preference and thought that someone better might come along. They were wrong. Before we get to the pilot, let me just say that out of this, I found lasting relationships or friendships with Michael J. Fox, Nancy McKeon, and Lori Hendler. My father walked Lori down the aisle at her wedding, where she was wearing my mother's wedding dress.
That's amazing.
It's pretty nuts. While I am now out of touch with Nancy, I spent many a Super Bowl Sunday and Thanksgivings at her home. And when I bump into Michael in New York, we were where we both live. It's like we just saw each other yesterday. And that's how it is, right? With old friends, you kind of pick up where you left off. Now the pilot.
I won't give you the chance to do that. I'm afraid that if we don't see each other every week, that you will forget who I am.
Do you think someday, like, we will lose touch, and then when we run into each other, we'll just podcast right where we meet?
Right.
We'll pick up right where we left off.
I'll pull microphones out of my pocket,
and I'll pull like like a laptop out of my ass.
Yeah.
Now the pilot. After the TV movie aired, I was in San Francisco filming the Gene Wilder movie, The Woman in Red, when it aired. There were rumors that NBC was interested in making a pilot. I figured that I had the part of Chucky locked up, but I was wrong. See, Crispin, who played my buddy Archie, did not want to do TV, so he refused. They went about recasting Archie, eventually, hiring Dean Cameron, a very talented actor, and bringing me in to read on a Saturday. Same thing. Me and the other guy, the talented Googie Grease, in a room. They called him in, then they called me in. Then they came out, and they called him back in. The producer, Dory Weiss, walked me to my car, where I am not proud to say I cried. It was difficult for me to lose a part that I created. I reached out to my friends who were very comforting. I went out and rooted Michael J. Fox. I went out and rooted on Michael J. Fox in Battle of the Network Stars and tried to get on with my life. That Tuesday evening, around 8 p.m., I received a call from one of the casting people saying if I knew where they could reach my manager or agent. I did not, but I obviously asked what was up. They told me something was up and to stay near my phone. I said I was doing laundry and my machine was on. When I came back from laundry around 10 o'clock, There were no messages. Then, around 11, my phone rang. Basically, I learned that the network did not like Googie or Dean and reached out to Crispin and paid him a good deal of money just to do the pilot. They still couldn't find my agent or manager, and this was before cell phones, so I had to make the decision, was I in or out? I was told that I needed to stick to the terms I had signed at my callback, so I did. I was in. I got a call from the assistant director with direction. Was told that Googie and Dean would be told first thing in the morning. I was also asked to bring a suitcase of clothes.
Huh.
After a restless sleep, I drove to the location only to find Dean and Googie still on the set. It was a bit awkward for all of us, and I'm sure they took the news as bad as I had a few days before, but they were still getting paid. I saw some old friends and met some new ones. Crispin was there, of course, as well as John Grease. Ben Marley was in the Michael J. Fox role of JJ, and his best friend was not played by David Nell. Anne-Marie Johnson and Joanne Willett, a very talented woman who has a great one-woman show out now, were in the cast, as well as Sam Slovic and Tegan West. The adult stars included Jerry Mathers, Ken Osmond, Paul Peterson, Barbara Billingsley, Rick Nelson, Harriet Nelson, Julie Newmar, Henry Gibson, Dick York, and Burt Ward. We had 2 weeks to shoot the pilot, and director Jack Bender could not have been more kind or helpful. However, we were up against a big issue. Ben Marley, as good as he was no Michael J. Fox. What sold the TV movie were the young actors that people knew, and people didn't know the young leads in the pilot of High School USA. The acting was fun, and the work with the adult stars was a dream come true. There was a scene where I was taken to the woods with Crispin Glover's character and stripped by Bo Middleton's gang. As I had a great deal of chest hair makeup, wanting to clear my chest and back, but said shaving might not be the answer. They took a test patch with Nair, and it seemed to go okay. So they naired my back and chest. We shot the scene a bit later in the day. My back and chest started to get red and bumpy and burn.
Oh, Jesus.
I spoke with production and went to an ER where I was treated for burns. They told me to soak in a lukewarm tub. When I got out, sorry for this description, there was a film of skin all around my tub where I was burnt by the Nair. When I returned to the set on Monday, I was still sore and killed it when I was and it killed when I was touched. Not a feeling I wanted as I was acting. The pilot went well, and Michael J. Fox even visited us to say hello. There was talk about him walking through as an extra, but the production did not want to remind people that he was not in the show. Well, it did not go to series, as I'm sure you know. Joanne Willett went on to do Just the 10 of Us. John Grease did Napoleon Dynamite. He was the Uncle Rico, and as well as many other projects. Anne-Marie Johnson has done a number of series, and Ben Marley has done well in films like Apollo 13, and is the face of Progressive Insurance before Flo. Crispin has had an incredible film career, and I was fortunate enough to run into him in Pittsburgh a few years back. High School USA was a great experience for a young actor. Between the pilot and the TV movie, I had made some great friends, met some amazing actors that I had looked up to as a kid, and had the ability to work on 2 quality projects. And then he sent me another picture with him and Crispin Glover.
That's cool.
It was very nice.
First of all, thank you very much for taking the time. I mean, to go into that detail, we do appreciate it very much, and I think the listeners, it's cool for the listeners to hear kind of that, behind the curtain stuff.
Yeah, we goof around and have a lot of fun on here, but whenever we get that kind of next level engagement from someone involved in the show, really elevates our show.
Oh yeah, definitely. Man, to get your whole back and chest nared, and then end up having be burned, I'd be like, F this,
right? So this is what he sent me something a little different later, saying in 2017, Diana sold the most Girl Scout cookies in New York City with over 2,500 boxes. In 2018, she wants to sell 3,000. Can you help her out by retweeting the image below to your followers? You're helping out Diana, her troop, and the Girl Scouts of America. I'm not exactly sure who Diana is. I will say it might be his daughter, or it might be someone who is raising money for a good cause. So I responded with, what an incredible account of your time with those projects. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to write that. Very informative and interesting. It's always next level when someone involved with one of the pilots we discuss chimes in with their experience. We'd be happy to retweet and even mention it on the show about the Girl Scouts venture. My daughter is a former Girl Scout herself. Our show comes out every Monday. I believe High School USA will be available on, which is today, the 22nd of January. And he says, if you ever do Young Hearts, let me know. So that's another pilot that he was a part of that had only 1 episode.
Awesome.
So that was our interaction with Michael Zorich.
Michael, you went above and beyond, and thank you very much, my friend.
Absolutely. And
we're going to put him up on the list. We're going to put him up his face
without a doubt.
It's going to, it's got Oh, we forgot about Michael Ian Black too. I'm saying these are the kind of faces that we have up on this wall.
He goes above Michael Ian Black.
Oh
Right?
no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, no, definitely.
So, yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your involvement with the show, Michael Zorek. We're going to talk about the pilot in just a minute, but not before we listen to a promo from one of my favorite shows, Hyper Uppercut.
Greetings, humans. We are interrupting your scheduled program to let you know of our plans for domination. Hyper Uppercut hasn't infiltrated your audio canals in the Fakakta Comedy Network to penetrate your minds with lewd humor.
Any attempts to stop our transmission of subpar video game news will result in immediate listening device failure, resulting in injury or possibly death from laughter or boredom. Join us at Hyper Uppercut.
Whoa, always sends chills down my spine.
Always the scariest promo I've ever heard.
And I want to know what girl they got to do that, because they don't have a girl on the show.
I think it was Pickles doing the voice.
Really, that's a good girl voice.
It's a great girl voice. What a great girl voice.
Pickles, great girl voice.
Oh, boy. This is an hour long. I guess it was about 46 minutes when it was all said and done. So let's, what do you got?
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to have to kind of Jimmy Remy through it.
Did you say Jimmy Rummy?
Jimmy Remy.
Let's Jimmy Remy through it then. Swinging music.
Oh, yeah,
That's-
rocking music, all the cast. There's action shots of all the cast. And this is, right off the bat, I was like, this show is full of a lot of legendary, like, TV adult actors.
Well, they mentioned Jerry Mathers, and he was the woodshop teacher. He's from Leave
Yeah.
the Beaver.
And
Burt Ward. He was Robin from the original Batman series.
okay, and I was going to say the detention teacher,
Yes.
the tall, skinny old guy,
Okay.
wasn't that the Beaver's brother's best friend?
It may have been. I didn't I didn't really watch that
think it
show.
was.
Okay. But yeah,
it seemed in something.
It was like a cavalcade of 1960s
And then who was the woman? The
sitcom stars.
The older woman.
Which older woman? Like the one who was always around the principal?
No, the one that at the end was on the float.
Superintendent. Oh, the stripper?
No, superintendent's wife.
I don't know her. The stripper was Julie Newmar, though, who I think was also in. She was Foxy before.
Oh, she was not Foxy here.
She was. She was in the original Batman show as
okay.
well. I think she was maybe the original Catwoman.
there was like a lot of young kids, and then like that you didn't really know. It was a couple of them.
It's smart though, right? Because that's how the made-for-TV movie was too. I guess
Sure.
where they took these stars from 1960s sitcoms and said, "Hey, you know all these faces, right?"
The moms and dads know these faces, and the kids know these faces. Perfect.
Smart.
They're all action shots they're introducing, and there's like a lot of cast members. There's a lot of them.
It really kept going.
In the first scene, Mr. Ing, who is the vice principal, and that's the one that was in Batman, the original Batman? Or am I lost? Yeah.
He might be. I remember him from like The Burbs. I think he was in with Tom Hanks. But you might be right. He was.
I don't know. He looked like somebody. So he's ordering people around and saying
He's walking through the schoolyard, real tough looking.
Yeah, and is bossing people like, you need a haircut. Get a haircut. Your jeans are too tight. Lose some weight.
He said that to Michael Zorek, the guy who responded. He says, like, lose 30 pounds. And he's like, yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Michael, I would have turned around and popped him in the nose, buddy. You were cuddly and you were wearing it well.
Michael was far and away. Him and Archie have this great duo of a comedic duo, but he was the comic relief of the whole thing. Absolutely. J.J. Manners, who's kind of the star of it, he's the cool Zach Morris kind of character.
Was that the one that Michael J. Fox played?
Yep, originally. Yeah. And he was cool. I like J.J. Manners, but Chucky was the comic relief, and it starts right here in the first 30 seconds of the show.
For sure. And then Bo pulls up in his fancy car, which I couldn't even tell what kind of car it was. It was
some sort of
sports
cool
car.
Convertible, yeah.
And his license plates were BM.
Oh, for Bo Middleton, not Bowel Movement.
Well, I think that was the joke. But he's the rich kid on campus, right?
Oh, for sure.
He's the guy that's gonna make sure.
He's the king of Excelsior High, right?
And then Helen Chappell, there's a shot of her. She walks by with her friends, and she's obviously part of the newspaper. And she talks to the name of the newspaper is Beaver Talks School Newspaper. And she was talking about how they're going to do an article on her.
She looked so cute here.
She did look cute.
I think it is cute, right? Like she wasn't like sexy.
No, it wasn't sexy.
She was like super cute.
Right. She had a lot of eye makeup on, which was back in the 80s. That's what it was. And then the hair was the frosted hair with the curls that were combed out.
Okay.
So they weren't tight curls, but they were,
Well,
big.
you really got in it.
Wow, dude, I was 9 years old at the time. I was wanting to slang bitches already.
Really?
You were only 3. You weren't paying attention.
I wasn't thinking about
You
slinging
were-
bitches
you,
yet.
You were just wanting to. You were just trying not to mess in your pants.
I guess you're right. It's School Pride Week, as it turns out.
School pride.
School. What'd I say?
I just want to make sure
School
the
pride.
listeners, yeah,
Yeah,
school
no,
pride.
no other type of pride is acceptable other than school. And yes, it is Excelsior Union High School, I believe it is. And then a jalopy shows up, an old busted, smoke out the hood, crabby.
Yeah, crappy car, and that is
That's JJ.
JJ.
Yeah.
not J.J. Rawlings,
Oh, I wish.
not J.R. Tolkien.
Hmm.
No, but J.J. is like the cool kid, like the leader of the losers, kind of.
Yeah, the leader. That's absolutely. Honestly, that's what I call his group throughout the show, are the kind of the losers. They don't really give themselves a name, but like if you want to refer to them all at once, that's kind of how
Right.
it is. So he is kind of this smart ass, kind of a prankster. He is. I would say he is the original Zach Morris.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I'll go ahead and say it right now since you led me into it. My description of this show is Saved by the Bell meets Grease meets Animal House.
There was a section of this pilot where there was a song that sounded like it could have been in Grease, like a segue song. It
was-
totally made me think of Grease too.
And kind of like the choreography of just how they did the garage.
Yeah.
Just
Grease lightning action.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
Grease lightning esque. So Saved by the Bell meets Grease meets
It's Animal
House.
And Animal House, that big parade at the end, right?
And
These-
it was about floats. It
These
was
people,
all about-
these people are smart, man. They took all these great elements. They're like, "Saved by the Bell's a huge hit 6 years from now. Let's make something."
So we meet JJ, and he goes in and talks to the principal, who is Principal Pete.
Yep.
And that was one of the Nelsons from the twin brothers that were in a band.
From the Nelson?
The Nelson,
Was it really?
That's where he started. When he was younger, he was in a band. He was
I know that.
yeah, or no, maybe that's one of his kids were the twins that had the hair metal. But they sang. That's how they got.
But they were around in the 80s, right?
What was his first name?
Pete.
No, the actor that played him, the Nelson.
Oh, who played? That is tough to say.
Sorry, you said it, but
That's all right. Let's see. Principal Pete. Ricky Nelson.
Ricky Nelson used to sing.
I think he passed away.
Yeah,
I think he passed away young too, like in his 40s, maybe.
but I'm sure it was his brother.
Maybe so.
Him and his brother.
He passed away like a year
sing-
after this came out. Like he died in 85.
He was he starred alongside family in the radio and TV series The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. He began in 1957. He began a long and sexful
Ooh.
career as a popular recording artist. As one of the top teen idols of the 50s, his fame led to a motion picture role starring alongside John Wayne and Dean Martin in Howard's Hawk. Anyway, yes, see? Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're totally right.
No, I know. I thought it was that, and then I wasn't sure. He died at age 45 in
Yeah.
1983. Wow.
85. I think he died-
43 and 85.
Yeah, December 31st.
Yeah. Ooh.
End of
Rough
the year.
day.
That's Anyway,
But he's a good-looking guy.
even on the show, he's a good-looking dude, and
I didn't mean to derail. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. It's odd because him and JJ get along. And it's usually the principal is like the antagonist, where the vice principal is one of several antagonists, but the principal is like a good dude.
He was way too young to be a principal, I think. In my
He
opinion.
was, I think he was 43,
and
44.
him and JJ were like buds. They were like sipping out of the same coffee cup. It was just JJ was like laid back talking to one of his buddies.
That's kind of how it felt, which is a cool. It was an interesting twist on the old cliche of
The stuffy Dean Mortimer kind of thing.
So he's in there talking to him, and let's see what happened.
Miss Franklin comes in.
Cindy Franklin.
She was smoking hot.
I don't use the word sex pot a lot, but Cindy Franklin, my friend, is a sex pot.
Definitely. And she's the substitute English teacher. And right off the bat, JJ and Principal Pete are both smitten as can be. And JJ instantly starts flirting with her and talking and like in conversation with Principal Pete.
All
Like,
three of them are staying there.
he's like, I want to bone this chick.
Principal Pete's like, "Hey, can I take your coat?" And he says, "Hey, can I take your dress?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Right?
that wouldn't go over at all. And then she was like all nonchalant. She was like, "Oh, you guys are so cute."
So he, in real life, they never say his age. There's no real reason to, but he's like 43. She's 26 and he's like 17. So there's not really like an age appropriate thing anywhere in there.
Not going on
But it
there.
is a love triangle, if I do say so myself.
This is where the discussion of the float competition kind of comes into play,
Yep.
and we find out we set the stage for what the problem is. What's going to be the thing that ties this.
And this
whole-
is good because they hit it early. They tell you early because sometimes the shows you never really know what the issue is, or it happens late, or you don't care. But they set it from the first 3 to 5 minutes. They say this is the arc of the show, right?
Correct.
And he's like, JJ's like, how do I get close to this hot broad who's a substitute teacher for this week?
Because he doesn't have English class, and she's a substitute English teacher.
He's like, I'll take 6 hours of English a day if you let me.
Yeah. It was really inappropriate the whole time.
It was, but it was like obviously it's scripted, but like, could you if that was like all off the cuff? I'd be a little hot and bothered if I was a lady having
Be like
someone talk
hot like wasabi
Not exactly.
when you bust rhymes.
JJ says, I have a float, and the preppy kid, Bo, he's like, I do not like this. I don't want you sullying the name. My grandfather started this tradition, and every year someone within my family wins the Middleton Cup, is what it's called.
Sure.
And I don't need someone like you sullying the name of the Middletons by having your garbage float in my family's parade.
He's like, plus you need a club to sponsor it. He's
Yeah.
like, who's going to sponsor it? Well, the auto club.
Of
The auto-
course.
yeah.
That's his crew, man.
Every high school has an auto club,
Every single one.
shop class.
Every single one. Every single high school.
So the next thing, he's like, fine, and so the next scene this is the one where it's very Grease Lightning kind of oriented. Like there's music, but they don't sing in this. But there are 4 or 5 times in this show where I thought they were going to break out in song. Like it was set up like
You're
that.
right. I can see that.
It was set up like, and now we're going to have a big group song. No.
But what this is one of several montages. You're right. That could have felt like it was going to start into some singing and dancing. But in the beginning of the show, the first 30 seconds, you got the principal walking across the field of the school, and you kind of get glimpses
Of
of
the
a
main
lot of the people.
characters, yeah.
But here, you kind of solidify. This is JJ's crew.
Right. This is
they're
the
in shop class. They're
quote-unquote
goofing
losers.
around. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in there goofing around, screwing things up, blowing things up, playing pool, just hanging out, having a good
There's
time.
a pool table in the middle of the garage. And this is where we see the Beeve.
Jerry Mathers, yeah.
Jerry Mathers ends up he's the shop teacher who,
Very timid, and people walk all over him.
yeah, he's just sitting behind his desk scared to get through the day.
Boy, they seem like a bunch of fun stoners for sure.
There's one guy that one guy does seem like a big, huge stoner, the one that sleeps all the time.
And the one who's like riding the float later.
Yeah.
Yeah, that little skinny kid with the blonde hair.
Yeah, he's like falls asleep in the diner later on.
And there's a dude in there who's like, I'm 26, married, and I'm a sophomore.
Yeah, he's like-
which I don't think he was saying that to be funny. I think that's who he was.
Right. He's like 26, got 2 kids, married, and I'm a sophomore.
Yeah.
He was funny too. I like that line.
JJ then gets up on some sort of lift and accidentally raises it up. And as he's going up, he rallies the rest of his classmates to build this float.
Yeah, he
for the
calls them all
parade.
winners. He's like, you guys are winners. They say you're losers. I say you're a winner.
I say they're probably losers.
Right. And then this is the next scene. Then he gets them all hyped up and they're all into it and they're ready to go. And then the next scene is where it's that detention teacher. I really think that was Leave It to Beaver.
You're
I think
probably
that
right.
was the brother's best friend.
You're probably right.
Have I ever been wrong?
This was the part, though, where he's rallying everyone, where I said the premise is set. This, I mean, there can be fleeting things, but now you've doubled down on this float action. This is what's happening. This is great. I'm so glad it's set up this early, because sometimes you don't get that. The next scene, you have Chucky and Crispin Glover as Archie. They find out that they're going to be interviewing interesting girls, or pretty girls, rather.
Pretty girls. I'm sorry. It was his name is Ken Oswald.
Okay. That Michael mentioned him in his feedback, yeah.
And that he was his brother, the brother's best friend in Leave It to Beaver.
And he was the detention guy, right?
Right,
And
sorry.
again, another teacher who seems to be like buddies.
Oh yeah,
with
he's like
JJ, right?
He's like, you got detention again tomorrow. He's like, I got to be out of here by 5 o'clock.
See you then, homie.
I'm sorry, I keep interrupting you. I got some cool facts of my own.
No, yeah, throw him in there, man. Bo shows up to the vice principal Ing's office. He wants Middleton to I can't even remember my notes. So they want him to continue to dominate the Arthur P. Middleton Cup. So
Right,
he kind of goes in there to say, "You're my ally. You and I we're simpatico." And so these are the two evil forces kind of joining
Coming together.
Yeah. The next scene, yeah, that's where the detention is, and again, everyone seems to like JJ quite a bit. JJ leaves detention and sees a lady dancing in the dark. This is a scene that is very odd and just completely out of place with the whole film.
Yeah, it was super out of place, and I could not figure out if that was Mrs. Franklin because because on the opposite side of the gym, because I think it was like in the gym, but it was in the middle of the day, but it was dark in the gym,
Dark as night in there.
except like a spotlight on her.
Yes.
But Principal Pete was on the other side looking through the doorway too, and that's why I was like, it had to be.
It's so dark that you're right. You don't know if it's her.
It has
but
to be.
Given that these two guys are looking at her, it could only be her. Which begs the question: if this is your first day of a 5-day span of being a substitute teacher, what the hell are you doing?
Doing exotic dancing in the dark of the gym.
Don't get me wrong; it was erotic.
Oh yeah,
And I don't like to use the word sex pot a lot, but
but she looked like a sex pot. It was nice. I liked it. High five that shit.
why was that happening? I don't know. Let's see. I love this is again where you kind of see Chucky and Archie together as a duo, and I always, and I know I mentioned on the show before, but I always love good comedic duos, and these guys, this was it. That was a great pairing, right? You got the skinny, nerdy Archie,
Uncomfortable.
kind of a sourpuss, and then you got the always funny and full of life chunky Chucky.
Yeah.
Right, and
Chunky Chucky.
That's a classic pairing, though, right?
Right.
So they're ready to chat with pretty girls. This is their part of the. I think this is just something to keep them busy or something. I don't know how this played in.
They didn't want to be involved in it in the beginning when JJ was in the garage talking about it, and the only way he convinced him is to say that those two were in charge of finding the sexy princess. To be on the float.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that got him. Because Chucky was like, "Oh, we're in."
And they're all talking about this at a local diner. That's kind of their hangout.
Right.
And while they're there, JJ looks outside and he sees Cindy, the substitute teacher, and he runs to help her with her laundry. Right. This is one of so many inappropriate interactions she has with the student. Right.
And she's not skipping a beat. It doesn't look uncomfortable to her at all.
No, she's happy to see him, and she's got her underwear in that basket ready to wash, and JJ probably knows it too.
And they flop out, and it becomes uncomfortable because he kind of picks it up and hands it to her, and she's kind of like, like, no, I've never saw any of my teacher's underwear.
I've never been in the vicinity. I've never been in a position to see them or anything. Yeah. Oh boy. But he helps with the laundry, and she's telling a student that she's not dating anyone. Right?
Right.
Because she's like, I'm staying with someone, and he assumes it's a guy. And she's like, no, I'm actually not dating anyone. It's like, what? Why would you say that? She's 26. She's got a bachelor's degree. She's working on her master's, and this kid's like a sophomore or junior in high school.
It's crazy.
Anyway, you find out here JJ is kind of from a broken home, and Cindy there, another inappropriate thing. She agrees with JJ that age doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's in each conversation you're just like, this is not happening. This is really not happening.
Yeah.
This is going to turn real bad real quick in regards to this lady is going to become a registered sex offender.
I could easily see a couple of wry glances and then a quick cut to the bathroom where JJ's railing her over the sink.
I've seen some pilots of my own that are like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on xhamster.com.
Now that's a pornography site, I believe. Are those pilots?
Well, they've never been there, and they didn't go to series.
They steered you in the right direction, right? They finally settle on that, like, Vietnam, nude beach, and Eiffel Tower. This trifecta of unrelated items would be the theme of their float. Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so,
next note I have is Principal Ing is kind of back on the hunt at school, and he's wanting everyone to behave because the superintendent's coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about how he sees JJ and he's like, it looks like you've turned a different leaf. You're doing good in the school and stuff. And he goes, I know you got something up your sleeve.
Yep. Now our gang of fellas is leaving school for that day. I guess another day has gone by, and Archie and Chucky are out there, and they're trying to get their girls together. And then the preps pull up, and they give them some shit. They're kind of like, we hear you guys are building this float. I don't want you doing it. You don't belong here. It's all one of many run-ins they have with these guys. The preps head to their like
mansion.
Yeah, it's a very posh mansion, and they have like a French architect.
Yeah,
they've hired.
They hired a French architect to design and build their float.
So essentially, they're doing no work.
And there's a montage in a little bit where there's a montage of the losers building their float and then the preps building their float.
Just eating hors d'oeuvres.
And they're playing tennis and eating hors d'oeuvres, and then the background in this big, huge, lush green lawn, there's a French guy yelling at a bunch of people as they're building it.
That was another scene where it's like, why don't you just start singing and dancing already, please? I want to see some singing and dancing. Principal Pete then approaches Cindy after school, and he's like, you're doing a really good job. What do you say? He said, you're doing a really good job. Something like, it's almost... Today, people would say what he was doing was sexual harassment, probably. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. He's very uncomfortable talking to.
I wouldn't consider it sexual harassment what he was doing. It's just people are so hypersensitive about that stuff. You know what I mean?
And then he's trying to basically flirt with her, and it's not working because he's just awkward, which is not because he was a teen idol, for Christ's sake.
Right. Yeah.
And then JJ walks in, of course, flirts with her, and then so Principal Pete's like, "Oh, I got to back off because this high school student is macking on this girl that I like." The auto club goes and they make their float, and the rich kids have made their float too, or are having it made. Mm-hmm. We'll just that's what I said earlier.
Sure. The preps have like very fine craftsmanship, while the losers are just kind of like slipping around.
They're throwing stuff together. They don't know what's going on.
And it turns out JJ has not really been helping. He's been spending all his time with Cindy. But he promises his friend, whose friend I did not get the name of this kid.
No.
He's like, I promise, I identified that I'm not doing this. You're right. I'm going to start helping.
And we forgot to say, when they were having their discussion at the laundromat, they made plans for a Saturday afternoon. The teacher and JJ had made lunch plans for a Saturday afternoon.
They sure did.
And JJ is like, "Oh, this is a date. It's gold."
It is. I think I stopped counting at 105 how many interactions they had that were inappropriate. At lunch the next day, the Cindy is in the lunchroom with all the kids, and she waves JJ over. Come sit with me.
Right. Okay.
So weird.
It's very weird. And did you ever have one of your teachers sitting in the cafeteria?
No,
they
had their own kind of cool, elusive, who knows what's behind that door, secret teacher lunchroom.
Right.
But she was out there in the middle.
She says, and waves them down. There was all of the tables around her were completely full with students, except her table.
Yeah. It
was white. It was just her. And so she waves JJ over. He starts macking on her, and then all of a sudden, all his loser buddies come over.
Yep, and I think that might have been there where they make the date, because as she's all of his friends are like, she's like, I'm gonna go. Your friends are here. You hang out with them.
Well, you can call me later.
We'll have one-on-one time later. Good Lord. In that same scene, you got Crystal Bernard, the cute. I don't think I got her name.
I don't remember it.
And she was sitting in the cafeteria with the preps, and she's like the brains of that operation, because she's like, you know what? I like the losers. They're fun. Yeah. They have a good attitudes. They're always happy.
They're always having fun. They're always laughing.
Yeah, and she's wearing a lobster bib, and they're all eating lobster.
Yeah, there's just a big lobster spread on the table.
And this is where the preps say, "Hey, you know what? We're going to sabotage these guys." You know,
something like a phenomenon.
Very similar to one. JJ gets ready for his date with Cindy by opening up his couch bed.
Right. Oh yeah. He's like, "Oh, are you tired? Do you want to sit down on my couch?" And he then does it.
He's there with his buddy, like talking about what he's going to do. And anyway, and he's got a really bitchin' pinball machine. I didn't know if you noticed.
I saw that.
I thought of you immediately.
And basically his buddy's like, "Hey, you haven't helped us with the float. It's in 5 hours."
Yeah.
And so the rich kids sneak over, and these two rich kids sneak over. They kick the wood out from underneath the tires, and the losers' float starts rolling away.
Now, while they were celebrating being done, essentially, the losers were there, and then JJ and his friend were on their way to go see the float. But while the losers were inside, they were drinking something.
Yeah, I don't know.
What were they drinking?
I don't know.
It looked like bottles of something.
It looked like bottles, and I don't know, orange soda maybe?
Maybe.
I don't know.
But yeah, they starts going down the street, and
it takes off.
The stoner kid jumps onto it.
Oh, right? This is the most active he's been in this whole show. So he's riding this thing. Of course, this is where it starts basically just like the longest chase scene you've ever seen. And so it passes JJ, and he's in his car. He's like, wait, wasn't there a float? So he goes backwards, and he picks up the rest of the guys who are running after this, and it's still going. There's no turns. This is straight out of the driveway.
This is an impossible scene, but we know that.
Right.
And because of that, it is fun.
It's a long.
It's fun. I think it's fun.
It's fun, but it's a long chase.
So it's going perfectly straight down the street, no turns, cars, people jumping out of the way, and the float approaches a T in the road, and then it goes into like a park, and somehow it stops immediately
Right
and
before it
launches
goes-
that stoner kid into a pond.
A lagoon.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a lagoon, yeah.
Yeah, it's only like about 2.5 feet deep.
I think it's the only time they said his name that I heard. It was like Bandini or
Yeah.
something. Anyway, he's in the water, and then another guy goes in there to get him out, and it's only like 2 feet of water, but they like comically wrestle and struggle. Like
'cause he's
to
all
get-
freaking. The one that has the 26-year-old that has the 2 kids.
Yeah.
And it's funny because in his car, there's a couple scenes with his car, and it's got 2
Baby seats.
baby seats in the back, and they just sit down onto the baby
I
seats.
didn't notice that. That's funny.
And this is where our next scene, Archie and Chucky are summoned by JJ to go and check out what's going on with the rich kids' float. And this is where they get caught, they get busted,
Yeah.
and Bo and his buddies take him to the middle of nowhere, which is where
Right.
our good friend Michael ends up getting nair burns.
Yeah. That's
You know,
something. Isn't it?
in real
What a
life.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will mention too. Right after the lagoon, so the land in the water, everyone's all wet, and this is JJ says he's so disconnected from the project, this float project, that he thinks the float is ruined. Which in fact it's in perfectly fine condition. It's just it's a piece of garbage.
Right, and they even said like, "There's not even a scratch on it. This is the way it's supposed to look."
And here he realized, I've not been here for my friends. They got together to do this. It was my project. I'm the one who put it together, and I haven't even been there. I've been too busy chasing skirt. And I tell you what, I can't blame him.
No.
Right.
No. Mrs. Franklin is swinging, smoking hot.
No doubt.
But that's not going to do anything for you.
JJ says, we got to come up with a plan. These preps, we don't like them. They don't like us, but they attacked us. We didn't do anything to them. They attacked us. Now we got to come up with a plan to get back at them, right?
Exactly. So he sends Archie and Chucky,
The dynamic duo.
the dynamic duo, to sneak over to the mansion to see what's going on and
Well, he tells them this is what we're going to do.
tell them that we're going to have a stripper.
And he knows they're boners, so they're going to screw it up, and they're going to spill the beans to him. So JJ is this, again, I always say Zach Morris, but this mastermind, right? He's setting his friends up to fail because but it's an integral part of his plan.
Right.
So he needs them to do it, but they don't know that they're going over there to essentially spill the beans.
Smart guy like that, when he touched that teacher's underwear, he should have had a plan for that.
I know. If unfortunately, that did not come to fruition. But I mean, fortunately for her, because of the state's statutory rape laws. But.
Right. So Archie and Chucky go over to the mansion. They try to sneak in, and at one part they get to like a really tall like wall, and Archie sits down on a ladder, and he's like, "What we need is a ladder."
You're sitting on one, you dumbass.
So they get up in there and they get busted out.
Yeah, they climb up, they fall through the greenhouse, which apparently I agree. I would love to live at a property that had a greenhouse.
Yeah, and it was like plate glass
Yeah,
windows.
Those boys should have been
they should have been cut
torn
up.
to shreds. They catch them, and then they drive the two fellas out into the middle of nowhere, and they pump them for information, or else they're going to beat them up. And then they strip them down to nothing and leave them in the lurch.
Yeah, and this is where Michael had his nair burn. In real life.
Yeah, that he mentioned there, because apparently he had a chest full of Brillo, which honestly, I can't grow anything. I'm almost envious of people who
Sure,
can.
I'm basically a swimmer that can't swim. Like I have the swimming body, the swimming hair for it, but I can't swim.
Well, maybe you should start swimming.
I can't swim.
Like you're unable to swim?
I'm not very good.
What about just in the shallow end? Can you just splash around a little bit?
Well, when I'm taking a bath, I'll splish splash.
when the boys are naked in the bushes, this is probably my favorite line of the whole show. Chucky, he looks over at Archie and says, "Archie, we're naked." It's like, yes, obviously you're naked. And then they're talking about, well, what are we going to do? We have to go home, and your parents are going to be freaked out. They're going to have a lot of questions. And Crispin Glover's character, he says, "Yes, there will be questions."
He's so creepy.
But in the made for TV movie, he played the preppy guy, so he's got a weird range. And
Sure.
do you remember the what was that called? The one with Nicolas Cage, The Best of Times.
Oh, I don't think I've seen it.
We watched it for the show.
Oh, we watched it. Oh, yeah.
Nicolas Cage went. Crispin Glover was in that too.
Oh, it was before he was Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's why you didn't recognize
why.
what I was saying, because there's Nicolas Coppola.
Yeah.
You prick. Back at the estate, Bo and Crystal are like getting professional photos taken, and she tells Bo, it's like, something's up. Those
Right.
boys got caught too easily. They told you everything. And again, this is where I say Crystal Bernard is the brains behind the preppy situation, because Bo's more like the muscle and the
Cockiness,
face.
in the face.
But Cindy, whatever Crystal Bernard, I don't know what her name was, but whatever her name was in the show, like she was the brain. She could see.
She was
the
set in
forest for the
reality.
trees.
She was in enough reality. The money didn't make her completely crazy to where she didn't think she was invincible, I guess.
Boy, she was cute. My God, she was cute.
Guess what?
Chicken butt, hilarious.
Time for the parade to start. Just
Just
like in Animal House, the final scene comes up to a parade. There's no time to waste.
No, everything's in motion. Everything we've been building to is coming to a culmination right now. Superintendent McCarthy. Of course, you got the big wig showing up, right,
Sure.
for this thing. That's played by Dick York from Bewitched. Shows up to the parade, and he's got his wife with him. And she meets the substitute teacher, which I don't know why these high-up people are meeting the substitutes, but they do. And Miss McCarthy's like, hey, you obviously work out.
You got a sexy butt.
You have a tight butt. She's like talking about her ass and her tits. She really is. Right. And I was like, okay.
I was like, hey, a little sexy time here with these ladies. I'll take it where I can get it.
Then the parades, they get literally paraded out. It's a salute to the American Grease Monkey. This is what the losers ended up coming up with.
Right.
And Kurt there, one of the losers, which I don't think I knew his name until this part. He is in what they call the grease face, but it looks like he's a black guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks like blackface.
And isn't this where they cut over and see the girls fighting? There's like a yard full of
A field full of...
because they're fighting over who's gonna because Archie and Chucky couldn't decide who was gonna be the princess of their float. So these girls are half naked in their undies fighting. It's very
Great
quick.
scene.
You gotta not blink during this part because you'll miss it.
What I did is paused it, and I had it paused for about 3 or 4 minutes, and I did whatever.
Just to catch up on your notes.
Right, just to catch up on my notes, and that's it. That's all that happened, and then I unpaused it. Bo then pays an over-the-hill stripper to be part of the loser's float. This is kind of like his last-ditch effort to ruin whatever those guys created. But, I mean, honestly, at this point, he's probably seen their float, and then he's seen his.
Right,
His
he
was
did-
like, why
why-
should I even screw with them?
Right,
You
why are
know,
you taking-
there's no way they could beat us.
Yeah, because he had to say, "Hey, stripper, that's the float over there."
Yeah.
Like I don't understand.
So
it.
it's like you're. I mean, obviously it serves the story, but he didn't need to do that.
No.
They would have beat him handily. They had
He
a French guy do
he had
it.
a French guy do it. She was over the hill by this time. You said she was really pretty. She was from the original Batman, but
Yes, I think she was the original Catwoman in Batman, and she is awesome and beautiful. And I think they even made that movie was like Wesley Snipes and
Blade Runner.
no. Who's the dude from Roadhouse? Patrick Swayze. They made this movie called To Wong Fu. Thanks for everything. Love, Julie Newmar.
Yeah, they were drag queens.
Yes, but the title of the movie had Julie Newmar's name in it.
Oh, that's okay. So in the next scene is Mrs. Franklin and JJ are talking on the side of the bleachers, and this is where all of a sudden Mrs. Franklin's like, "Hey,
It is Ms. She's
No,
not married.
I'm sorry.
Okay, it's not adultery we're talking about here. We're just talking about statutory rape, okay?
Sure.
Not adultery.
Ms. Franklin goes, oh, I hope you don't have the wrong idea. I just got hired on as a guidance counselor, and that's why I wanted to meet with you on a Saturday afternoon at your house."
I said, what about when I said, can I take your dress and you didn't bat an eye? What
When I-
about when I touched your underwear and you were smitten? What
you-
about us setting a date? Are you calling me over to lunch table? Or, like, what
Right,
about all
yeah,
these things?
When you told me that you were single.
Yes, and that age doesn't matter. What about all these things, right? Come on. God, I would have had a rage boner, I think.
Oh, I would have been so crushed. But JJ is like, nah, that's cool.
I would have gone from a milk boner to like a Tabasco hot sauce boner.
Right, but he spent all this time trying to woo her, and then she's like, "Oh, I hope you didn't get the wrong idea." She was part of the wrong idea. Like she said stuff, and he was just like, I would have been heartbroken and mad. He was just like, "That's cool. I kind of, you're like an older sister."
Yeah, I would have had a rage boner, but he blew it off like it was nothing. But
He's that fucking cool, I guess.
I don't
He
know,
just
but-
gets all those 26-year-olds.
yeah, it's just another substitute teacher he's laned with. So let's see. It turns out she's going to be the new guidance counselor at school.
Right.
So she's been there for a few days, and they're hiring her for whatever. JJ is then pulled away from his conversation with Cindy Franklin, away to the float, and he sees, hey, there's a stripper here.
Yeah.
She shouldn't be here. Something's up. I know why she's here. It was probably Bo. How would you like to make $200?
She hops right off that float and was like, $200? Sweet. So she leaves, but Bo has already told Mr. Ng, hey, this is what we did. So Mr. Ng's like goes up to the superintendent and is like,
Well, I don't think he said. Did he tell them what he did, or did he just say there's a stripper over here?
I think yeah.
Because he's not trying to implement himself in any sort
Right.
of wrongdoing.
And-
He's saying, hey, there's some illicit activity happening with the Grease Monkeys.
Sure.
float.
So, the uptight vice president goes up to the superintendent and is like, hey, on this next float, there's this degenerate girl, and, basically says all this negative stuff about this woman.
Yeah, a woman of ill repute.
Yeah. And then the float comes around the corner, and his wife is on it because JJ switched him and put his wife on there to honor her, the superintendent's wife.
And I'm sure she loves a little bit of the spotlight sitting
Sure.
there, all the attention.
And the superintendent's like, looks at Mr. Ng like, you are fucking dead meat, buddy. Let's go to your office and talk.
Yeah, why would you say that about my wife? Why would you insult me and her to my face? The quick scene, everything is all happening here
Yeah,
at the
this is-
parade.
yeah,
It's
this is
all
all
the
quick.
end. And Principal Pete, he bumps into Cindy, and he finally gets enough gumption up to ask her out, and she agrees. And another great line here is, "You'll do real well here, you know."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Wink, wink. As long as you're boning me,
Yeah.
you'll have a job.
yeah, I hate that. What was that? What was that old lady hanging around? That wasn't a secretary, was it?
Yeah, that was the secretary that,
Okay.
that bumped into him, so he would bump into.
I wonder
yeah.
what the secretary does for him. You know,
And she's older,
she looked like she was doing real well there. You know.
right? And earlier in the show, he asked her, "Am I boring?" And she took her half a day, and then she came up to him in the hall and was like, "Yeah, I've been thinking about it. You are boring."
You're cute, man. You're cute, but you're boring.
right. Of course, you're cute.
Yeah. Of course, he's adorable. He's Ricky Nelson, for Christ's sakes. Chucky and Archie then return to the school naked, and they grab a banner off of one of the floats or hanging up somewhere, and they wrap themselves in it to cover their shame.
Right, and they're trying to get into the PE locker room so they can put their PE clothes on.
Doors locked.
Doors locked because they've the superintendent, Mr. Ng, and everybody they're going to Mr. Ng's office to talk. They open up the office door, and the stripper is sitting there and says, "Hey, where's my $200?" Which then makes the superintendent go, "You have a prostitute in your office?"
Yeah, we didn't know what the $200 was for. JJ's like, "Do you want to make $200?" She says, "Cool." They cut scene. This is the plan: throw this whore in the office and make the superintendent come in and see it. JJ, the wheels are turning.
Oh, this guy is
he's a mastermind.
on the cuff too. So of course they all freak out. The superintendent's leaving, and Mr. Ng's following him, and he's like, "Oh, let's go somewhere else and talk. Here's my car. We'll go somewhere. I don't remember what it said." And then he opens the back door to his car, and that's where Archie and Chucky are basically naked and with just.
They had nowhere else to go, Blake. What do you want them to do? They were
No.
naked boys.
I appreciate that. It's fine with them. But so then the superintendent's like, "What? First you had a hooker in your office. Now you've got naked young boys in the back of your car."
Yep.
And Mr. Ng's about ready to, like, his head is going to explode.
And he's a tiny man, so it's this whole time too. Crystal Bernard's friends, these two girls that really they say almost nothing throughout the entire show. They're like part of the newspaper with her, so they're taking photos of all this.
Beaver talk.
It's gonna be front page news, baby.
Yeah. Cut to they're at the trophy ceremony, and they're going to give the trophy to
Bo
Bo
and
and-
his crew, yeah.
And then Mr. Ng comes in and says, "No, these guys are disqualified." And the runner-up was the Auto Club, JJ and the Auto Club. And JJ walks up and says, "Hey," rips the microphone out of the guy's hands, like, "Hey, during the bylaws say that if the winner is disqualified, the runner-up is now in first place, and then they win."
He's so well versed in the bylaws that he knew he could
Yeah.
win. Everyone celebrates. JJ is hoisted into the air, although he did almost no work on the float
Not
whatsoever.
at all. Not at all.
The end. NBC. Ding, ding, ding. SNL up. Stay tuned, won't you, for SNL?
Always.
We got Flip Wilson hosting and Stevie Nicks from Fleetwood Mac. She'll be your musical guest. But guess what? I smell turbulence.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Turbulence. Something's wrong with this show, right? It didn't make it to air.
That's why we're watching
They
it.
didn't pick it up. If there was nothing wrong with this, we would not be watching it.
Right.
Something's got to be wrong,
Right.
right? I don't know. It came from a made-for-TV movie. They somehow thought it was popular enough to make another kind of a version of it that acted as the pilot, but didn't get picked up. Why didn't it get picked up?
I
I agree. I completely agree.
I got a mute button for that, but I was sitting on my hands because I'm so cold in this cockpit. Will you please roll your window up?
I'm gonna cold cock you. I'll tell you that
Ooh,
much.
hey-o. To me, it was a poor storyline. I mean, this float thing, I mean, it just seems played out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You mentioned Animal House a couple times. I can't believe you mentioned Animal House because it's a film,
I've seen that.
and you've seen almost no films as far as I'm concerned.
Right,
But that's one of them you've
oh,
seen.
yeah.
Okay.
Classic, baby.
But we've been down this road before, right? With colleges, high schools. This is worn tread.
Sure.
And
I guess there's
you-
only so much that high school students have that's worth anything.
I think they should have ended it the same way they ended the movie Carrie.
When was the last time you worked on a float?
Or I've never worked on a float.
Thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome.
And I really think the dialogue was poor. Like it was just very like these are the words that are written.
Very
I'm saying them.
formulaic.
Yeah, it was just stiff. Is that way I could put? I mean, there were a lot of good one-liners and stuff, but overall, the writing was just stiff. In my opinion,
There was no fat there. There was nothing to cushion it or buffer it. It was all just this. Yes, this. Yep. Next scene.
right because they had a place to go. It's like everybody was in a hurry. Everybody was in a hurry to get that scene over with.
Yeah, I could see that. I kind of like the float thing. I know it's worn territory, but it made for a good, relatable. I've seen this before. I'm comfortable. I'm familiar with this. Hey, you know what? If this was on every week, I'd probably tune into it. But the dialogue, I agree. It could probably have been a little bit better. It was very just kind of sing-songy and nothing special there.
Don't you also think that the whole teacher-student relationship kind of thing was off-putting?
I don't. It's
Could they have done it? Could they have spun it a different way? Couldn't have like JJ been like had the hots for the teacher's daughter, maybe? Or I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. This is what I think. If you were to have that storyline today, you could not do it in a comedy.
Okay.
It would be in a drama because this is a very dramatic thing. We're living in very overly PC times.
Like an after-school
let's say.
special kind of thing.
It would be it'd be very dramatic, or just on a primetime drama. It would be a serious issue. This is a comedy. You can't get away today with a comedy about statutory rape. That doesn't exist. It's
right.
not. It doesn't make sense. Back in the 80s, they're a little bit more loose with that kind of shit.
I mean,
that's fine.
Louis C.K. wrote a movie and they won't release it.
Oh, I did hear it's kind of odd, and it did not help his case
No,
at all.
it was very mirrored.
Do you think that's what happened? That those broads who got beat off in front of by him
heard of that he was making this movie and,
and
what
they're
it was
like,
about?
the theme of this movie is like, we really just have to say something. We
Right.
really have to speak up loud.
I think they were probably like, he's not going to make money off this movie and get away with this at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I never thought of it like that, but it might be right.
I may be wrong.
I think you needed that three-way dynamic love triangle between the principal, the substitute, and JJ to bring the principal into the fold. Otherwise, he didn't really have a storyline. His only storyline really centered around Cindy.
Right.
And JJ is the main character, so he's connected to everything.
Right.
So if you want to be a part of that storyline, if you want any kind of FaceTime, if you want to introduce these characters, it's going to have to be related to the main story, which is JJ.
And we'll just, we got an extra 5 minutes. Let's put a flash dance sequence in the middle of this awkward thing.
Which one? Oh, where she's in the gym?
Yeah, that's just awkward.
It is. It has no place.
No.
Right?
It's,
Why
she
not?
didn't, if she was the dance teacher or a PE teacher, but she was the English teacher. She should not even
What if
been-
she was just in the classroom and she was just like reading a book while she was on break? You know, the kids are at recess or at lunch, and JJ comes in one side of the classroom and the principal's peeking the other, and the light's just hitting her the right way. Why does it have to be in the dark in like a ballet outfit? Like, it doesn't make sense.
in the middle of the day in a gym? I've never been in a gymnasium in the middle of the day.
It was pitch
That is
black. It was funny.
pitch black,
It was
perfect.
bizarre.
Is what I say.
Oh, I like that. I like that very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
And as we begin our final descent, we we cast our eyes and our fingertips and our mouse clicking digits on the rest of the internet. Who has seen this? Who has rated it? Who has commented on it? We're not the only ones. You know, we may have done a little bit of scouring. We may know about failed pilots more than anyone else in the entire universe. But I tell you what, other people have seen this, and they've rated it such on IMDb, the Internet Movie Database.
Right.
What is the score, you think?
I'm going to say a 6.5.
6.5. The balls on this guy. It's a 7.5
I should have got that.
out of 29 ratings. A 7.5.
That's not bad.
It's
That's
actually
nothing,
pretty good.
It's nothing to shake a stick at.
I can't imagine shaking a stick at anything, let alone a failed television pilot, but I agree. This is not bad. And I tell you what, on top of that, no critic reviews.
Oh.
No viewer reviews. No one said, you know what, not only do I want to rate it on IMDb, I want to spend a few minutes writing a paragraph. No one did that. Nobody did it. Instead, you and I recorded an hour and a half
2-hour podcast about it.
But, and you know what? No one has anything to say about it out there specifically, but you and I have some things to say.
That's why we're here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to FCF Airport.
This show is building back
Local
to his
time
back
is
burps.
11:11, and the temperature is 69 degrees. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
Bing bong. Hello, bing bong. Hello,
Bing bong.
sir.
Hello.
Hi, sir.
Can I
Hello.
buy you a Coke?
I would love a Coke. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Do you want a blanket? It's warm.
Yeah, I am freezing.
I am. I wish you would roll the window up.
That's how I roll, baby. I gotta have that white noise. I gotta have that wind in my hair. That Arctic freezing wind. 29 people said 7.5 is their rating. I say our rating stops at a 7. You can't get a 7.5
Right.
here. 1 to 7. From the popular 1990s television program called Wings, our scale is 1 being the worst, 7 being the best. They're all based off the characters from that TV show. One is a Roy Biggins. I hate him forever.
Dirtbag.
I swear to God, Blake, if David Schramm, the actor who played Roy Biggins, was here right now, I would kick him out of the plane. No parachute.
No parachute?
Okay, I'd give him a parachute, but I would kick him out.
I was
going
to say, if you don't want to give him the parachute, we can give him that little inflatable slide thing, but that's only going to help him for like a few seconds.
Yeah, then I would give him that.
Okay.
I would want him to have the illusion of having help.
If he'd be launched off.
Number 7 is a Brian Hackett. Okay?
The man with the plan.
That's the best.
Yeah.
He's got the bomber jacket. He's got the long, brown, flowing hair. Freewheeling Bob Dylan style, right?
Yep.
That's the stuff, baby.
No. You don't think I can do it? You don't think I could do it? And number 6 is Faye Yetten.
Love Faye Yetten.
A number 5 is Antonio Scarpacci. Am I right?
Yep.
A number 4 is Brian Hackett's brother,
Yep. That's it.
Joe Hackett.
Yep.
Right? Mm-hmm. Am I wrong, or are you just
You're
saying?
not getting any of these right.
None of them are right.
I think you're going 7 to 1, and you're getting them all wrong. Look, Captain Philip Restisher, I turn to you in your fit of coughing rage. I can only imagine there's some blood in there. What is happening? Is this do you still have that?
You have that window down.
What do you rate the pilot?
You know what? Before we sat down tonight and talked about it, my scour was lower.
Is that your Jewish accent? My scour.
Dave Rowan's my name. No. But once we talked about it, I kind of revisited what I liked about it, and we talked about it. I'm going to give this a 4, straight down the middle.
4. Okay.
I'm a straight shooter on this one.
You are. I've always said that about you. You're a straight shooter. Not a great score. Not a bad score.
Right.
Even keeled. I am going to give this the score of one of the actresses in the film, or pilot, if you will, Helen Chappell. That's a number 6 on our chart. This is a 6.
Yeah,
That's
wow.
good.
That's pretty high. I was not expecting you to give me a 6.
I like this. I think it's fun. I like the nostalgia of 80s high school. Like, if you look at the guy who contacted us, Michael Zurich, he hasn't been in films or TV in a long time, but some of the stuff he had done in like the 80s and 90s was that kind of immature, goofy teen comedies where it was you watched it because there's going to be some cursing and you get a few silly laughs, and you're probably going to get a pair of tits or two, right? All those 80s comedies had that, right?
The most famous, of course, is Porky's.
Of course, absolutely. You're going to grab your tongue through that peephole?
Ooh.
That was, put something else in that peephole.
Hey-yo.
Oh, it wasn't a tongue, was it? She grabbed his dick through the peephole. Oh, boy. Maybe I saw a different version. But this is reminiscent of those kind of things. It's not nearly as dirty.
No,
and
it's not raunchy.
I don't want it to be raunchy.
No.
But it brings that
fun-loving, lighthearted,
that spirit.
high school life.
I like that. And I thought the actors were good. I thought the story was good. It had brought a lot of characters in, but it didn't drive home all of them personally.
Sure.
Like, we didn't spend a few minutes with each of them really getting to learn who they were. They were there. They
did
served
their
some
part.
sort of purpose, and the main character was there. They got their time. I enjoyed it. I give it a 6. That's a high score.
That's a very high score.
And with that, we yawn the book.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. We close the book on High School USA, and we'll never mention this show again.
Ever.
But we're not done. 112 episodes in, and we're just getting started.
Ooh, we got a long way to go.
I don't know. We might be over halfway done.
Our life is not fulfilled until we complete.
Join us next time, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of the state's 43rd annual Halloween special. Here's a little something to wet your whistle. The sketch comedy troupe The State's attempt to make the jump from cable to prime time. You can find the entire episode by subscribing to Couch Pilots in Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes, or go to YouTube, and you know what to do, too.
And just to let you know, I did not follow the classically blue link, and I paid for it. I will explain that next week.
It is, like I just said, we did 112 episodes.
I know.
Okay? I have zero pity for anyone, you included, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just saying.
I'm an example. I'm an example of not doing the right thing.
You have to do the right thing by
the next right thing. Just do it.
Couch Pilots Podcast. Actually, before we start plugging where you can find us, I want to say the state. I don't think the series would have been called the state's 43rd annual Halloween special. This was a Kickstarter to a series that would have been on a network television. Sure. I also love the state. They had I think about 3-season run on MTV, probably totaling 30 to 40 episodes. I know that I've seen them all. I own the box set. I'm a really huge, weird, nerdy state fan. I can name them all. I have all this great info in me. I had never seen this special.
Neither have I. I had no knowledge of it. When I saw it, I was like, that can't be right. That can't be the state that I know.
I used to watch the state when it came out, as it aired in the 90s. This aired, when I say 95, I had no idea this even happened. I found out, I think in the early aughts, maybe around 2002, I found out about this. Here we are 15, 16 years later, and
because
I still
of this
had
podcast.
It genuinely is. I had never seen it, so I was super excited to watch it. I'm super excited to talk about it next week with you. But between now and then, won't you please go to couchpilotspodcast.com?
Yeah, definitely. That's the place to go. You can listen to the show. You can email us on there. Our email address is couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com, but there's a porthole there to do it. It's got links to our social medias, Twitters and Facebooks and all that good stuff. And, of course, we have the only podcast that has a dial-in number.
You can't call any other podcast. It's impossible. It's 910-745-6871, but it spells something. I can never remember what it is.
910 Pilots 1.
That's right.
Call, leave a voicemail. We'll be happy to play it. We would love to hear it. It's been a little bit of a dry spell. We haven't gotten in many, and I'm kind of concerned that if it doesn't get used, they'll cancel it on me.
You set this up, and they had to run a telephone line to your house to set this up.
From I don't know where. They just showed up in a truck, and it was this long.
I think it's best not to ask, right?
Yes,
it's a situation.
In the days of Trump that we're in right now, don't ask, don't tell.
This line is going to start to dry rot, crumble, and fade away if we don't start getting some calls.
Sure.
Okay.
And that's one of our favorite parts of the show.
Yeah, not dry rot, but the telephone messages.
Right.
Yeah. So, any other bits of information, wisdom, any recipes, and anything that you want to share with our frequent flyers?
Recipe for making love. Bum bum ba-dum. I want to thank our Patreon supporters. Patreon.com/couchpilots. You can donate a one-time donation, or you can donate monthly. We've got different tiers with different rewards, I guess. So please check that out. That's about all I got.
That's about all you got? Okay. Well, I got a little something.
I'm a smooth criminal.
Is that right now?
Yeah.
Did you know that? Did you ever see him slant forward?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
How's that happen?
I don't know how it happened. It's probably movie magic, like in the video.
Right.
But they would do it on stage, I believe, during the concerts. And I heard that they had something in their shoe that would hook into something on the stage, and it would like make them lean forward.
Oh man, I wish you would not have told me that.
I mean,
it ruins
none
it.
of that.
Okay.
Did you think they really were doing it?
I thought he was that good. I was like, that's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess it's the only thing I can say.
Don't laugh at me. Don't call me names. Don't get your pleasure from my pain.
Is that? Are you sending me a message when you say that?
No, I'm singing a song. That's a real song.
I know, but I feel like you're sending me a message because I was laughing.
Man, you laugh at me all the time, and I'm fine with it. I become numb to it.
This pilot may have been rough. That's always a smooth one.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.